Okay, welcome back to the Just for Clicks podcast. We are live from the Bait Studio in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, we're looking at a big neon sign that says Bait.
Yep, this is Bait Incorporated. I'm gonna have to refile for my business license or whatever for like the city of St. Louis or Missouri or whatever. There's some legal thing I gotta do where I've got to like. Because right now my business is registered still in California, so I've got to have Vicky like go in and do her thing. Vicky's my accountant, and yeah, maybe I should change the name of the business because right now it's Forest Fire Films Incorporated. That's kind of like obvious, you know, in bait. So maybe I should just change it to like Baitonomics or something, or like Bait Incorporated.
I think Bait Incorporated sounds really funny.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
It's also like shorter and like easier to like write and say and stuff.
Yeah, Forest Fire Films is just one portion of Bait Industries.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's a lot that falls under that banner that I have dominion over. There's obviously the Just for Clicks podcast. There's the Bait Buffet, which is the ongoing podcast on its own separate channel. Extremely popular, wildly popular. And then there's like all the other shit I do. You know, I sell eBay stuff. I sell like customs on eBay and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
What are some like pockets of income that I have going on?
Your like Patreon.
Right, the Patreon.
All your like clients, your like stop motion clients.
Yeah, that kind of falls under the Forest Fire Films thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But
a lot of that you don't do like for your own channel.
Right.
People will hire you to make something for their channel or their like business or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I could do like public speaking engagements. Like if someone wanted me to like come and talk, you know, to
about
their school.
Stop motion.
No,
that'd be cool.
If it's about stop motion, it would fall under the Forest Fire Films banner. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to like spread out from that. And get into like other things like electronics, you know, manufacturing satellites, that sort of thing. Or like public speaking. Like I can go talk about, you know, how I got off of drugs, you know.
Just like lie.
I did get off drugs.
It wasn't that hard for you to get off drugs. It wasn't like some big strenuous task.
It wasn't like a terrible drain on my life before.
You weren't like...
I wasn't like incarcerated or
yeah,
like
that. You weren't like dying or anything.
I feel like I could play that angle up a bit though. Like I could just tell a few like white lies. Like, yeah, you know, I almost lost everything, you know.
Oh my God.
The judge was threatening to throw the book at me.
Oh my God.
And I knew I had to find Jesus and turn my life around.
Oh wow. So just like lie, basically.
Yeah, I could go like Catholic schools, and I always thought that would be like a good racket. Like I could pretend to like be like a priest or some sort of like minister.
That's actually like a really profitable business venture.
Right.
To just like pretend like you're really into like Jesus and to start like a church, like a mega church.
It would be way too easy.
You don't have to pay taxes. You have to keep all this money. Oh my God,
that's so cool.
That reminds me of freaking that show we just finished watching, like Keep Sweet.
Oh yeah, we want to talk about that today. There's like this new show on Netflix, docuseries. I like saying that word, docuseries. And it's about Warren Jeffs and his FLDS fanatical cult. It's like a 4-parter.
Yeah, it was crazy. I learned a lot of stuff, but like, yeah, it was nuts. The thing that really stuck out to me was like that I learned. If you guys don't know, I mean, I'm sure most people know, but like
I don't know. I feel like it was kind of long enough ago where a lot of people, especially like younger than us.
Yeah. Because
I barely remember when it was happening.
Yeah.
Like my mom kind of kept me up to date and apprised me of the situation. Like
it's just kind of like
I was pretty young.
Isn't it kind of just like a meme or whatever, like polygamy and like the people, like the girls and like that.
Yeah.
Like the outfits or whatever.
But that, like a lot of people don't know about like that specific sect, you know.
Yeah. Well. Okay, well, like the FLDS stands for like the fundamentalists of like the fundamentalist Latter-day Saints. So they're like Mormon, but they believe like a lot more radical things than what kind of like typical Mormons believe. and it's like a full-on like cult. And it was, the leader was this guy named Warren Jeffs.
Super cool guy. He had a lot of swag.
And yeah, like basically like he got arrested in like 2008 or something for like statutory rape and like raping like 12-year-olds and 14-year-olds and like all this crazy stuff in his cult. But
other than that, he was cool. Besides all that stuff.
And saying that like, oh, like they were my wives. Like he had like Mormons or like the FLDS, like they're really into like polygamy, having like multiple wives. And you know, there are like in the past it would be like, oh, you need to have like 3 wives or whatever. Like that was like the number that was considered, you know, like the golden number of wives. But Warren Jeffs had what, like 70 something wives or something?
Yeah. How many wives do you get, or how many virgins do you get in like Islam when you die?
I don't know, like a lot.
If you die a martyr, you get like 90 something.
Yeah.
Some sort of. Yeah, he almost made it to that number. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If he had kept going, I'm sure he would have gotten there.
Yeah.
But no, they got his ass good.
And yeah, like 20 something of those were like teenage, like really young, like teenagers.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, obviously like what, like 50 or 60 or something. He was but like, he was
young at heart.
And like
he's like the creepiest dude. Like he like talks like a horror movie villain. Uh-huh. Like they played recordings of him, and I don't think I had heard him like speak before. Like I knew of him, like I said, because my mom was like following the story when this is all breaking and going down, like back in like 2006. And I was aware of the situation, but I never had heard him speak. And he sounds so creepy, like he's been cast in a movie. Like it's so funny, like it's almost like unreal. And he's just so ugly too.
Yeah,
like he's just a really butt ugly looking guy.
Yeah, it was weird because it's like before like Warren Jeffs took over the cult, like the cult had been like building for like a really long time, and like his father was like the leader, like the prophet or whatever.
Yeah,
like ruling, and like, you know, they think that like these people like Rulin and Warren can like speak to God or whatever, and like
that's when it was like semi chill.
Yeah, and it's like, you know,
semi.
It sucked for some people, like a lot of like Rulin's wives. Like they weren't happy being married to him because he was like an 90-year-old man or something. He was super old, and like they were just like not attracted to him, and they just had to basically like take care of him and stuff.
But they were all like above the age of 18.
Yeah, that's true too. Like they didn't like, yeah, they at least followed like that law, like that Utah law or whatever. Like they, you know, would wait until the girls were like 18 or 19 or something to have them get married. And then, you know, but like most of the other people were pretty chill, like especially like the men, like they had it pretty good. Like, you know, the prophet would assign you like wives and stuff, and like, you know, I'm sure if like you were assigned to some like young handsome guy, you were probably like pretty content if you were like raised in this like religion. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like it was like kind of chill back in the day. And then he died, like Warren's dad died, and then like Warren took over and just like took it like way off the deep end. Like, yeah, so he's in jail, but basically like
he like married a bunch of his father's wives.
Yeah,
he's like, okay, mom, now.
Yeah, it's like this stepmom, like fancy, okay, stepmom.
Yeah. And then he basically like ostracized a ton of like male members of the cult.
Yeah, that
got
was
rid of a bunch
fucked
of people
up,
who like might have been a threat or challenge to him for his power.
Yeah, like literally like teenage boys. He like exiled like just like a bunch of like teenage boys and like yeah like young men and stuff.
And then all those guys, all those like family men too, who were like, he said they were like, you know, Satan's followers, and so he like kicked them out of the community.
Yeah, like they were
and, like
married.
Reassigned their children and like their like wives to like other men in the community.
Yeah, and then like the wives and like the kids were just supposed to be like, oh, like, yeah, like we don't know him. It's like they're literally like that's their literal father. And like it's like, oh, like you have a new dad, like this is my dad now.
Yeah, and they all went along with it too because they're freaking brainwashed.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Like just like psychology, like from like a psychological perspective, like the whole situation is like fucking crazy. I mean, I guess it's pretty believable for the people who are like born into it. Like if you were just born into like this cult or whatever and you just thought, because like these girls, like they were interviewing, like they're now like women, they're like in their 30s or 40s or whatever, like they literally like didn't know who the president of the United States was,
right,
when they were in the cult. Like,
and yeah, like it's been almost 20 years since he was locked up and people are still, avid worshippers of him.
Yeah, it only like intensified like their like thing.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's like thousands of them. Yeah, just like all think he's like the literal word of God. This is why religion is just bad all around. Like most people don't take it this far, but it's just like just cut it out. It's like fucking cancer.
Yeah, and like the thing that like stuck out to me that I didn't know about was like that. So basically, like when Warren, like when like the kind of like the police and the government heard about like what was going on and like Warren Jeffs and everything, he like went on the run from the government and like took his like favorite wives or whatever, and
the most chillest wives.
Yeah, and like he told,
like they're down for anything.
He told everybody, like all the other members of the cult, like, you have to send me like $1,000 a week, like every household or something, like every like family, like
yeah, he said
every man.
He was going to build Zion.
Yeah, he was like, I'm on the run, like I need this money, like we need money to survive out here in like the like the real world or whatever. And he literally was like taking all these people's money, and they had like like sometimes guys had like 20 plus children to take care of. And like they were just like send all their money to Warren, and Warren was fucking going to Disney World and to like the strip club. Like that was crazy. Like that was like, it was like funny, but it was also like, what the fuck? Like he was doing all these things that like he told all of his followers like not to do, and like all these like sinful things or whatever, like worldly activities, and he was like out doing it.
Basically anything fun is a sin. Yeah,
just like going out and just like living it up before he had to go to prison, because I guess he knew
his time was short. He's like, well, might as well hit up Disney. I wonder what he bought at Disney. Like, how do you spend that much money? Like, even if you go to the strip club every night, like, I don't know. It just seems like he said they were giving him $300,000 like a week.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you even, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess you got to get creative, but I feel like I'd have a difficult time spending that much money every week.
Well, I guess he had like, a bunch of his wives with him.
Yeah, he had like a little posse going.
So, and I'm sure maybe, they had to get hotels and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, but how much does that cost?
Maybe they're just staying at like really like lavishly expensive hotels.
I guess you could be gambling it all away. It'd be pretty easy to lose it if you were gambling. Pretty crazy. Yeah, he eventually got caught though, and they busted into his vault in his church, and they found all those secret tapes and recordings of him assaulting children. And
he like just like incriminated himself like big time.
He would have gotten off. Like he probably would have got like 10 years or less if he hadn't like done all these recordings. But then like they found all this other shit, and it's like
he has like pictures of himself like kissing like children, like girls who literally look like they're like 12 and under. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, he's such an idiot. And so he's gonna be in jail for the rest of his life. If I had it my way, I just put him up against the wall and the old firing squad. But he's still out there giving his sermons to his followers. People come and visit him and write down every word he says. And it's like that's human psychology for you. Interesting. We're all just like lab rats.
Crazy.
Yeah, like we believe what we're told. And especially if we're under threat of, you know, if we're punished for asking questions, it can create a really dogmatic societal structure. So I feel really bad for all those people. You know, I'm happy that a lot of them got out, you know, but they're still like obviously like mentally fucking scarred for life after that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of their family members are still like, in the cult, and they haven't talked to them in like 15 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Fucking sucks.
There was this one girl on TikTok who like left or like escaped like the FLDS, and she's like in her 30s and she has 8 kids, and she has like pictures of like her and her like first baby when like her baby was like first born, and she's like literally like a little teenager, like a 14-year-old girl. And it's like, and she has custody of like all of her kids, and like they all like live together, like they like escaped together, which is really lucky because like that's not the case for everybody. Like a lot of these people, like they might be out, and like some of their kids might be out, but then like some of their kids are still in the cult. Like they just did a lot of like separating of families and stuff like that. Like they had no like, you know, they didn't value like keeping families together or anything like that. Like it's fucked up.
Yeah, it's super messed up. Yeah, we just finished up watching Under the Banner of Heaven too. That also dealt with Mormons. So we've been on a real Mormon kick recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? I might just, you know,
we might just become Mormon.
Yeah, we might just join up. Sounds, you know, pretty chill sometimes. Oh, yeah, there's also that show, Big Love.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good show. If you guys haven't seen that one, we haven't finished it, but we watched like a few seasons of it. It's got Bill Paxton and Chloe Sevigny, and is that how you say her last name? I never know how to say her last name.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
But it's got some good actors in it. Jennifer Goodwin, others. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure that one actor from Under the Banner of Heaven, the Native American dude.
He's in there?
I think he's in Big Love too.
That's crazy.
I might be wrong, because there's that whole season where they're trying to like fund or like be investors in the Native American casino.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just me being racist, but I'm pretty sure like whenever they need a Native American role, like fatherly role, it's like they call this guy, because he's like Jacob's dad in the Twilight series as well. And yeah, we need more like Native American like representation. Like I feel like that was he was really good. He was like the moral like compass and Under the Banner of Heaven. And yeah, I liked his character a lot. He kind of like told Pyrie, you know, he called him on his shit when Pyrie was being all cuckoo brained. And yeah, he set him on a good course. But yeah, I think he might have been also in Big Love. Maybe I'm wrong though. I could totally be wrong crazy on that. But I just maybe it's all just starting to blend together for me. But yeah, we've been on this kind of like Mormon odyssey recently.
Yeah, thinking about Mormons a lot.
What are we gonna watch next? Now that our freaking Warren Jeff show is done, what are we gonna watch? What kind of bait on Netflix can we scrunge up?
We were trying to watch like The Ultimatum, but it was just like too bad. Like, and then like I feel like my favorite people like left like before it even really began, and I just wasn't really into like the people who stayed. Like I wasn't really invested in them anymore.
The whole show's premise is so dumb. Yeah.
Yeah, like we started watching the first episode like weeks ago, and we were just like, we hate all of these people because they're all dumbasses. Because like the premise of the show is just like, literally like, it's like a couple and one of them wants to get married and the other one doesn't, and they go on the show and basically like mingle and like date these like other people who are in like the same situation, like other couples, and they have to like choose like someone from like another person to like be like in a pseudo like relationship, like
a trial
marriage with, and they like date them and talk to them.
It's already like way too hard to explain. Like, you know what I mean? Like the premise of the show is like way too complicated. But
it was just like annoying because it's like you hated like both of them, or like it was just like so annoying, like both of these people, because like you hate, like for me, like I didn't like the people who didn't want to get married because like, you know, I am like an advocate for marriage, and I just felt like all these people's like excuses and like reasons were just like annoying, and I was just kind of like, well, then you should just like break up with them.
Like the reason people don't want to get married is typically because like they're holding out and they feel like they can like do better like down the road, so they're just like waiting to feel like okay, or like just waiting to settle basically. Like I don't know, I maybe my experience is unique, but like I feel like after you've dated for like a year or so, you should kind of figure out like what you're doing. Like I don't know, because like I never dated anyone more than a year until Alyssa, and after that first year with Alyssa, it was like pretty clear, you know, it had been clear for a while before that, but it was pretty clear that like, you know, we're gonna get married for sure at that point. And it wasn't even like I you know, proposed really. We just kind of like discussed it over time, and there's never like one moment where I was like, let's get married, or like, do you want to marry me? It was kind of just like we both kind of just like fell into it very naturally. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we didn't have like an official kind of like proposal or anything. We just were like, you know, okay, yeah, I guess it's like about time, like we should do it now.
I think fear just like holds a lot of people back.
I think our thing was like we were moving to LA, so we kind of wanted to do it before that so we can like celebrate with everybody here, like in St. Louis. So a couple months before we moved, we like bought our rings, and then we went to the courthouse and did it, and then we had like our little party after, which was
just
really
so crazy because like a lot of these couples like on the show, like they've been dating for like 6 or 7 years or whatever, and it's like
I know
the one of the couples like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm ready yet, and the other one's like, you know, he's got to propose, or like I'm out of here.
Yeah, and like the other person, like the person who wanted to get married, was like annoying to me too, because it's like they obviously like this person like doesn't like value you, like you're wasting your time with this person. Like,
and it sucks because they already have like so much like shared history, but not now. Yeah, now it's so like one-sided. Like it should be like a mutual thing. Like it shouldn't be like one person begging the other one. Yeah, it's just every single relationship is just so like dysfunctional, I feel like. Yeah,
they all had like, it was just it was always some weird bait about like why they didn't want to get married, and like, you know what, and like why, like, oh, like I just love him, or I love her so much, like da da da.
Yeah, a million excuses.
Yeah, so like, but we ended up like watching it again just because we had like nothing else to watch, and we watched like all the way like up until like they started their trial marriages or whatever. But like a few people got engaged like during the dating portion, because I think like some of the guys were like starting to get like intimidated, like they were like, oh shit, like maybe I should like, you know, propose and like jump on this, like
they just kind of needed that like kick in the butt of, like their girl talking to other dudes, and like, oh shit, actually
like my girl is like really desirable,
right? It's like they get into this like safe zone where they just feel like, oh, she's mine, so I don't need to like do anything or like prove myself any further. We can just date forever, and I don't have to like, I can get everything I want without having to make any kind of real commitment. And it's just like weak. Yeah, it just makes me like not like the dudes. I mean, it's some of the chicks are the ones who wanted to get married, but I wasn't like the majority of it was like the dudes who didn't want to get married.
I think there were only like 2 couples where like the woman was the one who didn't want to get married or something.
Yeah,
but
there's like this one chick. This guy's so cucked. Like I feel bad for him. Oh my god. I know. And she's like so like just hot for like any other dick besides her boyfriend's.
Yeah, it was so fucked up. Like she would like literally like talk shit about her like boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like to these other guys, and it's like,
so
you know,
toxic.
they like the other couples, you know, they would kind of talk about like their issues a little bit, but it wasn't like such like direct like attacks, like, you know what I mean, like it was like, yeah, you know, I love him, but like, you know, we have like this issue.
This girl was not
but
subtle.
This girl was like, oh my god, like just like I just want him to, she was literally like, I just want him to like shut up sometimes, like he always has to be like talking, like like she just like very clearly like annoyed, and like
just break up with them.
And like, she was like super like, yeah, she was
not rocket science.
Yeah, and she was like my least favorite, but then yeah, like her boyfriend was also like annoying because he was just like such a cuck and was just like so like obsessed with her, and just like really liked her for some reason. Like I just like
Yeah,
didn't
he thought
really
she was like
get
the
it.
bomb.com.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, she was like pretty, but not that pretty.
Yeah, like I just
the shit attitude really, like, you know, kind of derails any sort of physical attraction.
yeah, it's like that TikTok like trend that's what it's like, she's a 10 but you know, she has a really horrible attitude. Like what is she now?
Like she's a fucking 5, you know, but like she also has a fucking bad attitude, so now she's a fucking literally -2.
Yeah, but like, and then his like new potential relationship that he was gonna have with this other girl was I was kind of interested in, but then her like boyfriend like proposed to her, and they like left.
He's like, oh shit, hold on. Actually, will you marry me?
Yeah.
That was funny.
And then
another guy proposed right after that.
uh-huh.
And I stole the thunder.
Yeah.
So that was pretty juicy. I mean, I don't know if I just, we don't have anything to watch right now.
Damn.
So I guess we'll have to keep watching that. What else are we gonna do?
Yeah. What
Read?
else? Ew.
Ew.
Talk to each other.
Talk to each other. We're doing that right now.
Yeah.
That's what this is for. No, I mean, like, we just like to, you know, snuggle up and enjoy a nice show after a long day of work. There's no harm in that.
True.
I've been watching Cheer.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing like the juiciness from.
With Monica.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cheer coach and the Navarro cheerleaders. Yeah, they're pretty hardcore. That show's really good if you want to get like amped up. You know, there's like a lot of good energy, a lot of good like, kind of just powerful messaging.
I
in
know.
that show.
I was hearing because like I can hear it from the kitchen, and like the girl was saying how she would like watch the routines like over and over and over again, and like it reminded me of like you or whatever, because like I feel like you do that with like your like work, like your like stop motion and like stuff, and like she was just saying like, I'm such a perfectionist, like I hate myself if I get anything wrong.
Yeah.
Or whatever, and like that's how Forrest is, but like with stop motion or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
I love
I
like
can
their
see-
attitude.
I can see why you like are really like into the show, because like their whole thing is just like we have to like get this freaking cheerleading routine like perfect, like absolutely like no mistakes. Everybody has to be like 110% or whatever, and like yeah, like I feel like that's what Forrest is like, but in his like Lego stop motion.
Yeah, it's funny because like what I do is such like a solitary kind of thing, but I hold myself to that like kind of standard. But like it's so great to see like this kind of like group environment where it's like this huge team of cheerleaders trying to like perfect this like show.
Mm-hmm.
There's like one event. It's all leading to this one competition where it's these two colleges who face each other, and they're like both like top in the world, and yeah, it's really incredible to watch the journey. And I've like cried a few times. There's like a few like they really get deep into like the backstory of like some of the like cheerleaders and like their family history and stuff, and like it's like serious. Like it gets really emotional. Like so some of the things that these kids have gone through, you know, really hit home, and you're just like, damn, like you really hope they win, you know. But then like the other team has just the same amount of talent and the same amount of, you know, people with stories, so it's tense, you know. It's like which team is gonna win. It's a really well done like docuseries.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like corny or anything. I think it's like just like pretty like true to life. You know, these people are just a bunch of intense, like dedicated, passionate athletes. So I would definitely recommend checking it out. Even if you're not like into cheerleading or whatever. Like I'm not into cheerleading necessarily. I mean, I am now after seeing this shit, but you know, I wasn't before. So it's kind of like more just about like, yeah, kind of the dedication and like the like follow through that these young people have. It's pretty incredible. And yeah, like the feats they're able to perform, it's like world class, like gymnasium, like gym kind of acrobatics. Like it's incredible.
They're really talented. They're like yeah, crazy athletes.
So I'm almost done with that. I've been watching that while I build Legos. I've been constructing various new sets, getting getting ready to shoot a Gotham City scene eventually. Right now, I just wrapped up production on my animation I'm doing for this company, so that's almost done. I have to do some editing. I'm gonna submit a first draft on Monday, and I think as long as there's not too many notes, that should be wrapped up by the end of the month, and I can begin work on finishing my Batman shower fight scene. So hopefully I can finish the shower fight before River is born. We'll see.
You think you can do that in like 3 weeks?
Possibly.
He could be here in 3 weeks.
Yeah. I'm thinking if I work really hard, I think I can finish it in 3 weeks. There's not that much left to do. I just have to like really like crack down and focus.
Isn't it crazy that he could be here? Like that's when like the window of like, you know, appropriate like healthy time for him to be born.
I know. Yeah. If it doesn't end up working out that way, then I'll just like put this project on hold for a few weeks after.
It's not born. Like it's like absolutely certain that he'll be here in 3 weeks, but it's like he could.
He could. Yeah. Yeah. That's like definitely.
He could be here.
He could be here tonight.
No. Shit. No. He could be here for anywhere from like 3 to 7 weeks. Like the longest I think is like 7. That's
too big. You gotta get him out of there. I'm really excited to meet him. I'm like super. It's gonna be so cool. Luna's like just learning so much. She's making so many advancements recently. She can say like multiple words now. She can say like ball and up.
Yeah, she asked to come up.
It's really cool.
And yeah, I actually stopped like breastfeeding her last week on Wednesday.
That was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like made things better for everyone.
Yeah, it's made her like sleeping better. She like has been sleeping for like a really long time at night without needing the booba. And yeah, that wasn't really like my plan. Like I didn't want to wean her. She's 1.5 years, so I did nurse her for like a really long time, like in comparison to like, you know, what is like standard or normal in like America or whatever.
Some people nurse until they're like 4.
Yeah, I was talking to this woman at like Brick World because we went to Brick World, so that was fun.
Yeah, we should talk about Brick World later. Yeah.
And I was talking to her, and because like our kids were playing in like the Duplo section. There was like a big Duplo section at Brick World for like kids, and she was saying how she nursed her daughter till she was 4, and like I don't know, that like I had just like stopped nursing Luna at that point, and like I was like, oh, like I wish I could have nursed Luna till she was 4. But basically like the reason why I stopped, I mean I could have, but like the reason why I stopped is because like for like a week straight, like before we stopped nursing, she just wanted to nurse like 24/7, like constantly. Like I don't know what was going on with her, but my nipples were really sore. And I just felt really like I hadn't really felt like this before. I'd like heard of feeling like moms feeling touched out, but like I never really experienced that until like, you know, like the last week of her nursing, because she was just wanting it like constantly. And yeah, I was just like, and yeah, my nipples were so sore, so I was just like, you know, mama needs a break. Like I'm not sorry, like I'm not gonna give it to you. So I would just like tell her no, and like she would cry, but then she only really cried for like 1 day, and then she just didn't really ask for it like the second day or like the third day. So I just like wasn't offering it. And yeah, that's basically how it happened. And so yeah, it's been like a week.
It's an emotional thing for you.
Yeah, it was. It is. I cried a few times.
Yeah, but it's made things better now.
Yeah.
Because now River will have, you know, sole access to the booba when he needs it. They don't have to like argue over it or anything.
Yeah.
And Luna's more independent now. She's sleeping in her own bed, not in our bed anymore. And she can like, you know, wake up faster and go to bed quicker.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of she was kind of using it as like an emotional like crutch, you know, like whenever she was sad. It wasn't really more about the feeding. It was more just about like the bonding. So now she's like bonds in like other ways. Like she'll give you more hugs now instead of like asking for the booba.
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, because she would still be hungry. Like, she would nurse like sometimes like literally all night for like 8 hours straight.
Yeah, and she'd be like waking you up, and you wouldn't be getting good sleep.
Yeah, but yeah, she'd be waking me up for the boob and everything. But then in the morning, like when she would still be like starving and like really like ravenous like for breakfast. So it's like I know like the milk like wasn't like filling her up. It was just like emotional, like how you were saying.
Yeah, she's big now.
I mean, she was getting like the immune support like benefits and like stuff like that. That is true and like good to like, you know, breastfeed, but yeah, I wanted to like tandem nurse like Luna and River at the same time, and that like could have worked out if Luna was gonna just be nursing like a couple times a day. But like if she had been going through some phase like how she was going through the other week where she just wanted to nurse like 24/7, it's like River's gonna probably want to nurse like 24/7 for like sometimes like it's called like cluster feeding. Like sometimes babies are just like, you know, when they're growing, like especially when they're newborns and really small and they need like as much like nutrients and like milk as they can get. So it's kind of just like, yeah, and I didn't want it to be like, oh, like you're not getting the boob because your brother needs it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't want to like pit them against each other.
Yeah, or like make Luna jealous or whatever. Like, so right now it's kind of just like she doesn't really know or understand like why she's not getting it. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of just like whatever. And yeah, you're so right. Like she's been like snuggling me more. Like how because she used to like we give Forrest hugs and like snuggle Forrest and stuff. I always just felt like, oh, she just like likes me for the booba or whatever. But now it's like it was just like that was her way of like having like mama like time or like mama connection or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty much over nursing Luna.
Yeah. Now that you can get a month-long break from nursing.
Yeah.
And hop right back onto it with River.
Mhm. I think that's good though. Like I feel like my nipples need some time to like heal.
Yeah, I almost kind of wish we'd done it a little bit earlier just so you could have more of a break.
No, I think it'll be okay.
It's a lot on you.
I mean, I liked nursing. Like it wasn't really hard for me like when Luna was being like normal about it.
Yeah.
Like if my nipples like weren't sore or whatever, like I actually liked it cuz like I literally could just like lay down and she would just like nurse and just be happy, and it was like, oh wow, like rest.
Right.
But
well, I guess we should talk about Brick World.
Yeah, Brick World was really cool.
Yeah, this last weekend we drove up the old Chicago way and made our way to the convention center in Schaumburg, and we participated in this Lego event. It was organized by a bunch of AFOLs, and it was a lot of fun.
It was. I'm gonna go grab a Tums.
Okay.
I'm having some heartburn right now. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I know exactly where they are.
Yeah, there's some on the kitchen counter. We bought some when we were up in Chicago because I had some hot chicken and I was shitting my stomach out like the second morning. Like it's like a 2-day event. Like it's like longer if you have like a special pass or if you're like a exhibitor there, if you brought a build, but it's open to the public for like 2 days, like Saturday and Sunday. So we went up there on Friday, got a hotel room, stayed the night, and then went there early at like 10 a.m. on Saturday. And it was like 10 to 4, I believe, was the first day. And the second day was 10 to 3. So it was awesome. Yeah, there's like lots of stuff on display. Obviously, builds, mocks, my own creations. And also retailers, you know, Lego adjacent distributors, people who make custom products. So, I mean, it was right up my alley. I mean, I discovered a lot of new things, bought a lot of cool custom pieces. Met a lot of really great people that I've known online for a long time, such as Gus and Christopher Gearhart, as well as Adam, Ant Bandit, and many others that I've had communication with over the years. And it was really cool to like meet everybody in real life and hang out. It felt like I was really with my people, like in a way I've never really had before. Like I had this like community there, which was so rich and vivid, and it was almost like I kind of realized in that moment, like, these are my people. Like,
yeah, on the way home we were like, that was your tribe.
That's my tribe. Yeah, right. And I just was kind of like always seeing them or communicating with them through a screen, and it was kind of cool to like for us all to be in like one area and like, you know, really hang out in real life. So yeah, I think I'll probably be going back to the next one. This was the first one since COVID. Like, they didn't have one for like 2 years because of the virus and the pandemic and all that. But yeah, people were really excited to be back. Some people were still wearing masks, but most people weren't. They were just like, you know, rocking it. A lot of people there, especially the second day. I feel like it got even beefier the second day.
Yeah, the second day was like Father's Day, so I feel like a lot of people went, like, probably like a lot of like locals,
Yeah,
like Chicago locals, like,
yeah, definitely
went there to like celebrate Father's Day.
True. Yeah, also Juneteenth.
Oh yeah.
But there weren't that many black people there. There was like you know, a handful.
Do you like think about that, like, when you're at a place?
I typically don't. Sometimes I do, though.
I feel like I typically don't like even like really register that.
If
Like
it depends. Like actually at Brickworld, I didn't even register it, but it was pointed out to me by someone who commented on my Instagram. They're like, "Wow, Lego's white," and it's true. I mean, like, if you think about it, a lot of times, people who are into Lego tend to be white men.
True.
And they're typically, you know, straight white men.
There was
like,
a
leave us
lot
alone.
of gay stuff
This is our outlet
at Lego.
for all our fucking fucked up shit. You know, like, instead of expressing it onto the world through colonialism, we're just, you know, building Lego. So just be happy.
There was a lot of like gay things.
Yeah, there's a lot of gay shit. I mean, yeah, Lego's
There was
pretty
like
gay.
gayfuls and like a lot of like
there's the gay
rainbow.
fools. No, but like I'm glad like there's like a lot more like women kind of in the community now too. I feel like we've seen like a recent like uptick in like female creators who are passionate about bricks and stuff. But yeah, I didn't really think about it as a race thing until it was pointed out to me. But yeah, other times when I go to like certain places, I do notice like, you know, like ethnicity. Like if I go to like a play, like a lot of times I'll go to like the Muni or whatever, and it's like a lot of white people there. Like there's not like a black person in sight. But like, yeah, I feel like it's kind of like one of these things where like, black people, they're kind of like, it's ingrained in them for them to be like really tough, you know, in their society, in their culture. Like masculine roles are like really like valued, and I've seen that in like a lot of my like friends who are black. Like, you know, I mean, maybe it's like kind of an old thing that's like dying off, but like I feel like they have kind of like a thicker skin, or they kind of don't want to appear like feminine or girly, or like they would think like, and obviously this is, I'm speaking in generality, but yeah, I think white people have been allowed to like, you know, show like less like shame when it comes to like doing like kind of more fruity things like building Lego or you know, musicals.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of white people, like rednecks and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
yeah,
who are kind of like, you know, anti, like, who would be afraid to like seem gay or seem feminine.
Yeah, there's always that like subsection of people, you know, who, you know, kind of adhere to those more masculine roles, or like shy away from things because they don't want to be picked on. But yeah, it's also like kind of a thing where like, you know, it's hard for like certain like people, like black people or whatever ethnicity or whatever, to like break into a thing that's like deemed like white, because then they'll get like harassed by their like friends or whatever for being like, you know, like lame or whatever for being white, you know. So it kind of like limits certain people from like, you know, feeling like included or whatever, or feeling like, you know, like it makes them feel persecuted by like their own friends, like in certain situations. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's, you know, everyone's situation is unique, and like this is all just like kind of, race is kind of a made up concept to begin with. I'm just speaking in general terms, and those are kind of like some of the assumptions that I've drawn from the situation. But I hope to see it improve over, you know, over the next few decades for sure. We can kind of like have more variety and more culture, and, you know, like different ethnicities.
It's also just like, well, yeah, like that's true. That would be cool if that is just like how it naturally happens. But it's also just like, you know, some people just like a thing and like others don't. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's like,
and you don't really
like
you don't have to like
trends,
kind of like make it all about like it's like, you know, like gender or race or whatever. It's like, you know, you don't have to like force it onto the situation.
You don't have to, but
like,
it's an interesting like what's the word, not sociological, it's more like anthropomorphical. What?
Yeah, like culture. Is that what you're talking about?
Is that a word?
Yeah, I think that's a word.
Anthropomorphical?
I know what you're trying to say.
I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's kind of an interesting, you know, thought exercise, because you think, you know, there's, you know, so and so percentage of black people in the U.S. or people just who aren't white, basically, you know, make up, I think, like almost a majority or less than a majority. What's like the,
if you Google it,
white people
Google will
percentage.
tell you that white people are 70%.
70? I thought it was more like 60.
United States. Like maybe
when I looked it up, I thought it was like 60.
Well, yeah, maybe.
But let's just say, you know, it's 60-40, right? Like,
okay.
In terms of, but like, you know, like that also depends on like how you define a white person. I mean, the whole thing's stupid. But
that's exactly what I feel like. It's just kind of like, how do you even define a white person exactly? Because it's like you can be like white and something else. Like it's just kind of, race is just like,
it's dumb.
You just like shouldn't care about.
But it's an interesting.
It's like a social construct
experiment, you know, and like there are reasons why, you know, there's like this barrier to entry, and it's interesting to think about.
It's kind of like
almost like I was saying, like if we have 60% white people, 40% other types of people, then like it should be 60-40 represented at this con, but it's not. It's like 99% white, and it's like, why is that? You know, so like we can kind of discuss like why different races prefer different things, and it's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
it's like tribalism, you know.
Yeah, I just feel like as long as like everybody like feels like safe and like welcome like at an event or like doing something, like that's what matters, like, you know what I mean? And it's like if like they just don't like naturally like want to do that, or they like, you know, even if it's like is like emotional on their part, like they don't want to feel judged by like their friends or whatever, like that's like on them, kind of, like, you know what I mean? But it's like as long as everybody feels like safe and welcome, and you know they're not gonna get like harassed for like their race or their gender or whatever.
Yeah, no, like I don't think like anyone there, like Lego people are like the nicest people like ever.
Yeah,
like it's not like you're going to a monster truck rally or anything.
Yeah,
you know, like the barrier to entry on the Lego people's part is not difficult. I think it's more of like a societal like kind of like thing, like of maybe you might be judged by your own people. So I feel like that might be like the real like challenge there, because like I think, but I think that's changing. I think like as we, you know, progress, those kind of like old fashioned ideas are kind of falling by the wayside. At least I hope.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because I mean, like, you know, musicals are gay, like playing with Lego is gay, but like as we progress as a society, we start to realize like, oh, being gay is like not a bad thing. Like it's okay to be like a little bit fruity from time to time. You can also still be masculine. It's not like
cool
a 1 or 0 type thing.
It's kind of like it's like a luxury to kind of like be into like this like kind of like artistic stuff. And you guys like
He's artistic.
Like the because like it means that you're not like struggling for survival. Like you have time to.
You don't have to put up this like front.
Yeah.
Of like the macho tough guy all the time.
Yeah, it means like you have like the energy and like the time and resources and emotional like bandwidth to spend like going to a play or like building Legos or going to a Lego convention. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's like stuff like that. Like, yeah, I guess I could see why people would think it was like quote like gay or quote like feminine or whatever, but like it's like kind of, it's like really cool that we like have things like that. Like, you know what I mean? Because we live in such like luxury, like in the first world, I guess like a lot of people just like think that if you're not like struggling or something, like it's like you're, I don't know, you're like not doing like a good job or like you're like slacking.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think there's also a way you can take it too far too, if you're just like a total man child.
Yeah, for sure.
Is not a productive member of society, and you're just like live with your mom and you paint, action figures in your basement, in her basement all day, and you're like 500 pounds.
There's a balance.
That can also be, not a good thing, and maybe that person might have needed a little more macho, kind of self-assertion kind of upbringing, or kind of thoughts put into his head, but yeah, no, everyone's on their own journey. Everyone's on their own path, but yeah, it was kind of interesting that someone pointed out that it's so white, and it's like, yeah, it really was. It was a very white event.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think in terms of like how accepting the community would be, it's like this is probably the most accepting community of like any type of person, like I feel like anyone can go there and be totally feel at home, because like it's all about the brick there. It's not about like flag waving or like kind of like, yeah, it's not about like politics or anything like outside of just literally plastic toys. Like,
yeah,
it's pretty sweet.
It was really cool, like, because as I was like walking around looking at everything, it's like it's kind of like an art gallery or something, but it's like Lego. Like, you know what I mean? Like everything is made out of Lego. Like it's like there was like this one really cool piece that looks like a huge like portrait of like a dragon and like a woman. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know that one you're talking about.
It looks like a painting, like a really big like painting, but it was made out of Lego. It was like really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of like cool like mosaics.
Yeah. And yeah, it was lit.
Yeah,
there was also some cool like jewelry, like Lego like earrings and stuff, and I kind of wanted some, but I was like, I would never like wear those unless I was like at like a Lego convention.
Yeah, you can
like,
take it a little bit too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like doing the Lego jewelry or like wearing Lego t-shirts, it's a little bit much.
It's a bit much for you.
Yeah, it's a bit much. I'm not a huge fan of like graphic tees to begin with.
Yeah.
But like especially if you're like, I don't know, like at a Lego convention, it's like there's already so much Lego around. Like you don't really need to wear a Lego shirt. You know what I mean? Like we get it.
Yeah.
So I wore a suit.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, and that's what I'm gonna do every year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna show up in the nicest suit, like there, because like I knew no one was gonna be wearing a suit. It's such a casual event, and I was like, I just gotta do something funny to like differentiate myself. So I showed up with a suit and like a wireless microphone, and like I had Gus and you like film me interviewing people, and I was just like getting people's like stories. And yeah, I felt like a little like journalist. Like I was roaming around. It gave me something to do, because like I felt like if I wasn't doing that, like it wouldn't have been as like fun. Like I would have been like done with like the whole event like sooner, but like that kind of, because I was doing that, it kind of like stretched out the time I got to spend there, and I felt like I was really like, getting the most out of the experience, like every hour I was there. And shit, I was like sad when it was over. I was like, damn, that was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely want to come back again and do it next year. Hopefully we can get maybe, even more people out there next year. Like maybe get Sean, or definitely get David Hall. He wasn't there. I think he's busy on something, but David's, sorely missed. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool being a part of this Lego community. I always thought like filmmaking would be like my community, like filmmakers, but in Los Angeles. But it turns out it's actually Lego people from all over the world, from all walks of life.
Yeah.
Some people flew from like Australia. It's like insane, like the dedication that like it takes to get to Chicago. For us, it was only like 4.5 hours.
Yeah, it was just like a 4.5 hour drive.
Yeah,
that
it
was
nice.
Luna's like longest drive. And she was pretty okay. She slept for
she was
like
fine.
a lot of it.
She slept, and like we made like plenty of stops and like got out and went to the park and stuff like along the way.
It was both of like me and Luna's first time in Chicago. Luna's like a little traveler. We've taken her like a lot of places in her short little life.
Yeah, it's like a little adventure time with Luna.
She's been to like 4 like major cities.
Yeah.
She's been to like, born in LA, lives in St. Louis, Orlando, and now Chicago.
Yeah.
She's been on lots of plane rides.
I met a lot of fans while I was there. Like people came up to me and told me like they like my stuff and stuff. And
yeah, that was crazy too.
One person, I believe his name was Slug Films. He was like, "Oh, you got to make it out to the LegoCon later this year in Oregon." And I was like, "Man, that sounds cool, but like, I can't just hit every LegoCon. I gotta like, just one a year is good for me. At least
Oregon would be cool. I really do like
fun, right?
the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Like, I would like to go to like Oregon or Washington.
Sounds nice.
I've heard that they're like really sketchy as fuck though, like Portland and like Seattle and stuff.
What do you mean, like in terms of crime?
Yeah, like you like don't want to go there.
Is it the place where the homeless people can just like walk into a grocery store and just take food off the shelves?
Well, that's like California. That's like San Francisco and stuff. But I saw someone say that like, I saw on Twitter like a girl like tweeted that she saw someone like taking a shit like just in like the street in Portland.
Yeah.
And it's like no one like does anything.
Yeah, when I was in LA, I saw like a number of naked homeless men just like with their cocks out, waving them around like in the street. Pretty sad.
I kind of like was thinking, because like I always grew up hearing about Chicago being like this like crime ridden
Chicago,
like disgusting, like horrible, like like you're gonna get shot if you go to Chicago.
No, Chicago's nice. It's not Detroit. It's not East St. Louis. Chicago's like a big major American city.
So I was like a little bit nervous, like, because I went to like Illinois for like a field trip when I was in high school, and like all the parents were like, you're not going to Chicago, right? Like, don't go to Chicago. Like, and like we didn't, but like everyone was like freaked out at like the prospect of like their child like going to Chicago or whatever. And I didn't even tell my dad that we were going to Chicago because I knew that he would be like freaked out, like one of those people.
Yeah, you don't want to worry him.
But when we were there, I was like, oh my god, this is like a really nice like city.
Yeah, it's like St. Louis, but like bigger and like nicer and with more money.
Yeah.
Chicago's cool. Definitely looking forward to going back there next year. Oh yeah, I also I bought a giant Charizard when I was there, so I'm gonna be doing a live stream pretty soon of me building this Charizard from Christopher Gearhart. His Bricker builds. It's going to be a good addition to the studio. And I think once the life-size Charizard Lego is built, then the studio will finally be complete.
Yeah.
And I can do my studio tour finally.
It was so funny because like when they like they were like at the Lego convention, they were like revealing this like build that forest bought or whatever. It was like a big deal. Like there was like a big countdown.
Oh yeah.
And then Forrest like bought it. It was pretty lit.
Yeah, I was the first person to buy it. Yeah, and now it's gonna live in the studio. I just gotta find a spot for it. I have no idea. Every space is sort of accounted for, so I've got to kind of comb out a spot down here where it's visible, and it'll be aesthetically pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I got a good interview with Chris Gearhart, and yeah, I'm editing the video now, so I'm just trying to make it. Excuse me. I'm just trying to make it like entertaining and funny, and move quick, but I'm not exactly sure how long I want to make it. Like, I think right now it's like 15 minutes, and it's only like halfway done, so it's probably going to be like a half-hour long video. So I wonder if I should upload it to the main channel, or if it should just be a second channel upload. I don't know. What do you think, babe?
I mean, I really like it. I feel like it should be like a main channel video.
Yeah, Gus said the same thing. I sent it to Gus and
it's pretty epic.
Yeah.
Especially how like you're editing it. Like he was like, oh, it's like 10 minutes, and I was kind of thinking like, oh, like that's a little bit of a long time or whatever. Like to like sit down and like watch like, you know, a whole thing. But it didn't feel like it was 10 minutes. Like it went by really fast.
Nice. That's a good compliment.
Yeah, and like so I felt like I could definitely watch like 20 more minutes of that and like feel like it was like, you know, went by really quickly and be like, oh wow, I was like 30 minutes. That's crazy.
Yeah, I gave it the old ADHD cut.
No, like I need that.
I show them, like, sometimes I show like my videos to my grandparents, and I feel like they don't even like comprehend like what happened, because like the way I edit a lot of times, just like things happen so quick and then you roll on to the next thing. And yeah, I feel like it almost like can only be viewed by like people from my generation, because like even my parents, like I feel like they just don't get the kind of humor or like the kind of like quick cutting. It's like too like disorienting. But I don't know, for like people in my generation or even younger, I feel like we're kind of like that. When we watch old stuff, it's almost like in slow motion to us or something. Like when I watch old movies, like I can still appreciate old movies, but it's like everyone's wading through water to get through the scenes. And it's kind of liberating to be able to make like this really like spicy, like quick cutting, you know, intense like thing out of just like an event. When you're there, it's just like, you know, like real life, you know, it's like things are happening at a normal clip. But when you start cutting everything that happened together, you know, I have like an hour and a half or 2 hours of footage to play with. Whittling that down to like 20-30 minutes, it makes everything seem really like intense. And yeah, I found a lot of good music tracks that I've been using too, and like kind of to bring out the humor and everything in the moments. So I'm enjoying doing that. Yeah, I think next year I'm gonna go back with a tweed suit and be like kind of like a Jordan Peterson kind of get up. Might grow like my beard out, have like a gray beard, and might just do like a Kermit the Frog impression the entire time. I don't know. I gotta switch it up next year. I gotta come like with like some new bit.
Yeah. Some
new you know, some kind of new bait to entice people with. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. You guys will see the video soon.
Yeah, it's also just like I mean, I'm sure it was good, but I'm also like biased because like it was my husband who's like the main star of the video in like this handsome suit, and like my daughter was like in it a lot.
Yeah, Luna's in it a lot.
But I actually did like, I liked the edit. Like I think like even when other people were talking, it didn't feel like, it felt like, you know, well paced and like cool. A good like entertaining thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So look forward to that, and I'll be doing some more live streams here coming up pretty soon on the Forest Fire 101 channel. Anything else? Any closing thoughts, son?
Closing thoughts.
Yeah. That was it. That's the whole podcast, guys.
Yeah. No closing thoughts.
Wow. Yeah. That hour just flew by.
I know. We had lots to talk about.
Yeah, we had so much to talk about today.
Sometimes we do this and it's like, what are we going to talk about?
Not today.